Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Dipendra Sharma from MIT University, Gurgaon. Today we are going to talk on module Test for Goodness of Fit and Independence, chi-square test as a test of goodness of fit under the paper Quantitative Techniques for Management Decisions. After reading this module, the students should be able to understand the concept of non-parametric tests, advantages and limitations of non-parametric tests, chi-square distribution, and procedure for applying chi-square test of goodness of fit. An appropriate statistical test among the variety of statistical tests that are available for analyzing a given set of data is selected on the basis of a scale of measurement of data, dependence and independence of measurements, number of populations being studied, and the specific requirements such as sample size and shape of population parameter. Generally, the distinction between parametric and non-parametric statistical tests is dependent on the scale of measurement of data, assumption regarding the sampling distribution of sample statistics. Tests like Z, T, and F are used for the estimation and test of hypotheses about population parameters. The use of these statistical tests require a specific scale of measurement such as interval or ratio scale to collect data. It involves hypothesis testing about specified parameter values. It also requires assumption of normality and whether the standard deviation of sampling population distribution is known or not known. In the absence of this requirement, statistical tests like Z, T, or F would not provide accurate conclusions about the population parameters. Thus, few other statistical tests that do not require these conditions to be met are used to test the hypothesis regarding the population. These statistical tests are referred to as the non-parametric tests. Because non-parametric tests do not require on the specific nature of population distribution from which the samples are to be drawn. Secondly, the use of a scale of measurement such as categorical or ranks to collect data is being used. A non-parametric test is also known as distribution-free test. It satisfies at least one of the following criteria. The statistical test does not take into consideration the population parameter. The statistical test is applied only on categorical data and not on numerical and frequency distribution of categories for one or more variables. The statistical test does not depend on the shape of the population, in particularly about the normality. Let us see what are the advantages of going for the non-parametric test. The first advantage is non-parametric statistical tests can be applied to analyze categorical data, which have been collected on the nominal scales, rank, that is the ordinal scale data, and the interval data. Non-parametric statistical tests are easy to apply and take less computation time when sample size is small. Non-parametric statistical tests are also useful when the scale of measurement is weaker than required for the parametric statistical test. Hence, these methods provide broad-based conclusions. Another advantage of using these non-parametric tests are that the non-parametric statistical tests provide an approximate solution to a problem, and these tests also provide solution to the problems that do not depend on the shape of the population, in particular normality. There are certain limitations to these non-parametric tests are also there. The first limitation is that the non-parametric statistical tests require more computational time when the sample size gets larger. Table values of non-parametric statistics are not as readily available as of a parametric method. And due to all these reasons, non-parametric tests are usually not used widely. Let us see what this chi-square distribution is. The term non-parametric does not mean that the population distribution under study has no parameters. Each population has certain parameters which define its distribution. The chi-square test is one of the non-parametric category of tests or method to test a hypothesis. A symbol chi that we are usually use is a Greek letter word. The sampling distribution of chi-square is called a chi-square distribution. The decision of accepting a null hypothesis is based on how close the sampling statistics are to the expected value. That is, the calculated value of chi-square test statistic is compared with its critical value at a certain level of significance and a degree of freedom to know whether the null hypothesis is true or not. Let us discuss about the conditions for the applications of chi-square test. The first condition is that the experiment consists of n identical but independent trials. The outcome of each trial falls into one of the k categories. The observed O1, O2, On outcomes in each category are counted such that all the sum is equal to 1. Second condition is, if number of cells is more than 2 and more than 20% of the cells have expected frequencies less than 5, then chi-square should not be applied. Third condition reads as that samples of the least 50 observations must be drawn randomly from the population of interest. All the individual observations in a sample should be independent. The fourth condition reads as data should be represented in units than in percentages or ratio. It helps in the comparison of attributes and interest. And the important condition for the chi-square test says, if there are only 2 cells, then the expected frequency in each cell should be 5 or more, otherwise the value of chi-square shall be overestimated and will cause the rejection of null hypothesis. As chi-square test is designed to analyze the definite data, which signifies that the data has been counted and divided into categories. This test will not work with the data which is parametric or continuous in nature. For example, if you want to test whether attending class influences how students perform in an exam using the test scores from 0 to 100, as data would not be appropriate for a chi-square test. Why? Because the scores may be in 0.5, 0.7, it can be 11.2, it can be anything. However, arranging the students into the category of pass and fail would qualify for a chi-square test. Additionally, the data should not be in the form of percentages or anything other than frequency data. Thus, by dividing a class of 60 into groups according to whether they attended class and whether they passed the exam, you might construct a data set like this. Here you have a table where you are showing the students who attended and who skipped the classes, the students who passed and failed the exams. Now chi-square tells you the information based on how you do the division of data, but can't tell you whether the data is meaningful or not. For example, if you are working with data on groups of people, you can divide them into age groups like 18 to 25, 25 to 40, 41 to 60, anyone, or in the basis of income level. But the chi-square test will treat the division between those categories precisely the same as the division between the old and young and rich or poor. It is up to you to test whether your categories make sense or not, and whether the difference between the age 25 and age 26 is enough to make the categories. This does not mean that the categories based on age are a bad idea, but only that you need to be aware of the control you have over organizing data of that sort. The following table would signify a possible output of chi-square test using 2 variables to divide the data, gender and party affiliation. This again we are having 2 party affiliations, whether you have pro BJP or a pro Congress, and 2 genders. We have another category we have got is of gender, that's male and female. We now have a complete set of data as seen in the table on the distribution of 110 individuals into categories of gender, that is male and female, and the party affiliation, that is BJP or Congress. A chi-square test would allow you to test how likely it is that the gender and the party affiliation are completely independent. Or in other words, how likely it is that the distribution of males and females in each party is due to chance. So as implied, the null hypothesis in this case would be that gender and party affiliation are independent of another. To test this hypothesis, we need to construct a model which estimates how the data should be divided if our hypothesis of individuality is correct. However, following table constructed as an example which will help you for easy calculation is that assuming that there is a 50-50 chance of males and females being in either party, we get a very simple distribution. In this table, we have divided the total preference into a 50-50 ratio. So BJP 60 divided into a 50-50, 30-30. 50 of Congress have been divided into 25 and 25. This information would help us to calculate the possibility that the gender and party affiliations are independent. We can assume a different null hypothesis for a chi-square test. Using the situation mentioned above, you could test the hypothesis that women are twicely as likely to register as BJP than men, and a chi-square test would tell you how likely it is that the observed data reflects the relationship between two variables. In this case, you would simply run the test using a model of expected data built under the assumption that the hypothesis is true, and formula will test how well the distribution fits the observed data. It is important to know that the null hypothesis is not some abstract fact from the test, but rather a choice you make when calculating your model. Degrees of freedom. It tells you how many numbers in your grid are actually independent. For a chi-square grid, the degrees of freedom can be said to be a number of cells you need to fill in before, given the totals in the margins, you can fill in the rest of the grid using a formula. If you have a given set of totals for each column and row, then you don't have unlimited freedom when filling in cells. You can only fill in a certain amount of cells with random numbers before the rest just becomes dependent on making sure that the cell adds up to the total. Thus, the number of cells that can be filled in independently tells us something about the actual amount of variation permitted by the set. The degree of freedom for a chi-square grid are equal to the number of rows minus 1 times the number of columns minus 1. In our simple 2 by 2 grid, the degree of independence are therefore 2 minus 1 into 2 minus 1, and note that once you have put a number into one cell of 2 by 2 grid, the total determines the rest for you. The chi-square test statistics, what does it mean? A chi-square distribution is skewed to the right and the random variable never takes a negative value. Like T and F distribution, the chi-square is also a function of its degree of freedom. This distribution is a continuous probability distribution extending from 0 to infinity. Values of chi-square that divide the curve with a proportion of the area equivalent to alpha in the right tail are given in the appendix, that you can just check it out. The chi-square test statistic is given by the difference, this is a square of the difference between the observed and the expected value, and we divide by the expected value for the respective rows and columns, and then we add off all of them. So it is a summation of the observed of the square of difference between the observed and the expected value divided by the respective expected value. So I have just told you where O is the observed frequency in a particular category and E is the expected frequency for that particular category. Now let us discuss about the procedure that you need to follow to test for goodness of fit. The general steps to conduct a goodness of fit test for a hypothesized population distribution can be as following. First of all, you need to state the null hypothesis, and we know that null hypothesis says that there is no difference between the observed and the expected set of frequency. As a result, your alternative hypothesis will say that there is a difference between the observed and the expected set of frequency. The second step that you should follow is that you need to select a random sample and record the observed frequencies for each category. After that, you calculate the expected frequencies in each category by multiplying the category probability by the sample size. After that, you calculate the chi-square statistic with the help of the formula that we have just discussed above. Once you have calculated the chi-square value, find the critical value of chi-square at a certain level of sigma alpha and at a degree of freedom, provided number of expected frequencies is 5 or more for all the categories. Once you have done so, you compare the calculated and the table value of chi-square and use the following decision rule. If the calculated chi-square is less than its critical value of chi-square at a given level of degree of freedom and at a given level of significance, then accept the null hypothesis H0. Otherwise, reject H0. Let us take some examples to understand this theory further. If the question reads as, an HR manager is interested to determine whether absenteeism is greater on one of the week than the other, his records for the past year show the following sample distribution. We have taken the days of the week, that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, and the number of absentees during Monday was 66, Tuesday is 56, Wednesday 54, Thursday 48 and Friday 75. Now we need to test whether the absence is uniformly distributed over the week. Let us take the null hypothesis that the absence is uniformly distributed over the week. If the absenteeism is equally probable on all days and the number of absentees during the week are 300 divided by 5, which comes to 360 absentees, are the expected values of each day of the week. So we have got the expected value, we have got the observed value, hence we can calculate the difference, we can calculate their squares, and this will help us in getting the value of the chi-square. Now we see the calculated value of the chi-square is 7.5, which is less than its critical value of 9.49 at a given level of significance, that's 0.05, and here the degree of freedom is 5 minus 1, which is equal to 4. The null hypothesis is accepted. Question reads as, the survey of 8,000 families with 4 children each revealed following distribution. Number of boys, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 are given, and the number of girls are given as 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Number of families are given 32, 178, 290, 236 and 64. Is this result consistent with the hypothesis that the male and female births are equally probable? So let us take the null hypothesis that the male and female births are equally probable. The probability of a male or a female is P is equal to Q, which is divided by 1 by 2. Since the birth of a male and a female is mutually exclusive and exhaustive, the expected number of families having a different combinations of boys and girls can be calculated by the help of binomial probability distribution, which is given by this formula. So by putting these respective values over here, you can calculate the respective frequencies. So here we got the value of P, which is equal to x equal to bar, that is equal to 1 upon 16. We know the value of P, we know the value of Q, we know the value of R. So here we get the respective values of in the form of the expected frequencies. Arranging the observed and the expected frequency, here see now this table, the first table is going to tell you how you have got the expected frequency. Observed frequencies are given to us by setting up a table where the observed and the expected frequencies are given. We can calculate the value of chi-square. Since the calculated value of chi-square is greater than the critical value of chi-square of 9.488 at a given level of significance and at a given level of degree of freedom, the hypothesis is rejected. Hence, we conclude that the male and females do not seem to be equally probable. So let us summarize, students. An appropriate statistical test among a variety of statistical tests that are available for analyzing a given set of data is collected on the basis of scale of measurement of data. Secondly, dependence and dependence of the measurement, number of populations being studied, specific requirements such as sample size and the shape of population parameter. Non-parametric tests like chi-square tests are not dependent on the specific nature of the population distribution from which the samples are to be drawn, and the use of scale measurements such as categorical or ranks to collect the data. Chi-square test is designed to analyze a definite data. That means the data has to be counted and divided into categories. It will not work with parametric or continuous data such as height in inches because it can be 11.2 or zero point 0.5. Chi-square test can tell you information based on how you do the division of the data but can't tell you whether the data are meaningful or not. The test for goodness of fit describes how closely the given data describes the distribution of the population. And with this, students, I hope the purpose with which we have developed this module would be of some help to you. Thank you.